Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Background and summary. The background and summary refers to the first two parts of the specification. Now, the background narrates the problem. It also tells you what others have done. It's more like a literature review which you would find in a scholarly article. It just tells what others have done. More importantly, it also tells where others have failed. And you would also describe existing solutions. If your invention is an improvement over an existing solution, then you will describe the existing solutions and say that the existing solutions are not perfect or that the solutions are not sufficient to solve a problem in an efficient manner. So it could be also the fact that what exists is not efficient. That itself could be the problem that you are addressing. And it does the role of being a precursor to the summary. So the background of the invention should connect to the summary. So this is one part where you start your description, and in the background part you narrate the problem. So from the problem solution statement, this part will cover the problem part of the problem solution statement. Now, so we equate background to the problem. So we had worked on a problem solution statement, and in the background part of the specification, you are going to explain the problem and flush out the details of the problem. Now you bring out the problem in a way it prepares for the summary. You have to be brief and conclude quickly. The reason being, dealing in great detail with the prior art, because the problem could bring some elements of the prior art, may not be advisable, because the focus of your application is your invention. The problem is only the context. So focus on your invention, spend your time and effort in explaining the invention, cover the background to the extent it requires to be covered. So you have to be brief, and if you see some samples, you will find that there is no great discussion on the background, and patent agents throughout the world very quickly cover the background in a few sentences. Now, you should avoid the temptation to compare the prior art, because when you make a comparison, there is a possibility that your invention may look obvious if you compare it with the prior art. There's no harm in describing in broad statements what the prior art is, what the problem is, but a step-to-step comparison with your invention could be detrimental to the future of your invention. Now, you can show how the prior art falls short while describing the problem. This is normally done by using words like unfortunately, disadvantageously. So when you read the background portion, if you find these words, you will know that, okay, this is where they are describing the problem. Now, there could be exceptions where you may have to describe the background in some detail. For instance, if there is a long felt need for a solution, then you're going to create that need by saying that the prior art had these deficiencies over a period of time. Or if your invention is a successful attempt in achieving something which was previously attempted by multiple people and they've been failures, then you may have to even describe that to show that your invention has been tried, or the what you tried to achieve has been tried by others and all their attempts ended in failures. So that these are exceptional cases where you may have to cover the background in some detail. Otherwise, you be brief and you conclude quickly. Now, do not include the description of the invention in the background. The background is not for your invention. The background is what creates a pitch for your invention. So you should conclude the background without touching on the invention, so that the next part of your specification, which is the summary, introduces the invention. So it's more like setting up for your invention. The background does the role of setting up the stage for your invention, and for that reason you will not include any description of your invention in this part of the specification. And you end with the problem that the invention solved. So you give the background, the field, and you say the attempts others have done, and you end with the problem as you have defined it in the problem solution statement. So this sets the stage for introducing your invention. In some cases, you would also describe the field of invention. This is a requirement in the United States. You have to describe the field of invention, but it's not mandatory from the Indian perspective. You could have it, or you could even include the field as a statement in the background part. Now, again, you should not introduce the invention in this field. And whatever you state here can be deemed as a part of the prior art. So you should be cautious that and understand that the field of invention is nothing but a part of the background. It's not a part of your invention. Now that we have set the stage for the invention, the summary part will describe the solution. So the problem has been taken care of, and you end with the problem as you have defined it. And the next part of your specification, which is the summary, will now present the solution. Now the solution has to be presented in a narrative form, and it can be presented as a restatement of the claims. Now these are the two approaches to how do you present your solution. You have created a problem solution statement. The problem is taken care of in the background part. In the summary part, you have to immediately impress the reader with what is your invention. So there are two approaches. One, you describe your invention in a narrative form, or you rephrase or you restate your claims, which will be in claim language. So the preference is to describe it in a narrative form, because then you have the flexibility of cutting the various longer parts of your claim into easily understandable parts, nevertheless holding the invention together. Now, the solution part comes from the problem solution statement, and the solution is what you will start your summary with. Now, ideally, you should start your summary with a one-sentence statement of the inventive solution. And you could, in a patent specification that is well drafted, you will find that the first opening statement in a summary will be a crisp one-sentence statement of the inventive solution. Because what you have done in the earlier part is you have concluded the earlier part by ending the earlier part, which is the background, with the problem, with a statement of the problem as you have defined it. Now, the next sentence should be the solution in a single statement. So, you are able to capture the entire scope of your invention in a single statement. Now, once you open with a single statement of your invention, you can follow it up with how it has addressed the problem in detail. Now you can describe the invention functionally, and you should avoid limitations in this section, because limitations are created consciously in the claim. So here you will not do that, because here this part could be used for understanding the scope of your claim. So you have to be careful in drafting this part, and you should refer to the problem solution statement as the invention. Now here on, you will not mention the problem solution statement, or there is no problem. Now you're just going to concentrate on the solution, which is the invention. So from here on, you can say the invention or the said invention. You can use that language from the summary portion onwards. Now there could be optional features in your invention. There could be a main claim, and there could be dependent claims, which brings out the optional features. Now, when you have to describe the optional, delete last few words. When you have to describe the optional features, you may use words like maybe, or optionally, or for example, if needed, which shows that there is a broad summary where you capture the scope of the claim, and something extra, the features of this invention may be, or may include, or optionally include, or for example. So you bring those variants so that it's very clear that the main claim is covered in a crisp summary statement, and everything else that you regard as an optional feature is described with appropriate language.